Have you ever heard of a war that was stopped with a leaf? It sounds like a fairy tale, but it really happened in 1929 in a part of Nigeria called Igbo. This is a story that most history books get wrong, and it's one you won't forget. It all started when British colonial rulers decided to introduce a new tax now. Taxes are never popular, but this one was different. To make sure everyone paid, they sent men to count everything people owned. But they made a huge mistake. They tried to count the women. In Igbo culture, this was unthinkable. Women were never counted like property, and doing so was a deep insult, a spiritual offense. It just wasn't done. So, in a small town called Oloko, a colonial messenger walked up to a widow named Nor. He told her to count her goats, her sheep, and then he told her to count herself. Noanyurua refused. She looked him in the eye and said, "Was your mother counted?" The argument got louder, and neighbors started to gather. That's when Noanyura did something incredibly powerful. It was simple, but it would change everything. She sent a message, using a network that had existed for centuries, a message from woman to woman, carried by palm fronds, and the women answered. Within days, thousands of them started arriving from villages all across the region. They didn't carry weapons. They didn't come to fight a war in the way the British understood it. Instead, they came with songs on their lips, palm fronds in their hands, and tradition in their hearts. They surrounded the colonial government buildings. They danced. They sang powerful, satirical songs, naming the corrupt officials who had been exploiting them. Sometimes, they would just sit in complete silence for hours, a powerful, unnerving presence. The British were baffled. They saw chaos, a riot, but this was not chaos. This was Igbo law in action. This ancient practice is called sitting on a man. It was a traditional, highly organized method for women to hold men accountable for injustice. It was their court, their parliament, and their protest, all rolled into one. It was a public shaming, a demand for justice, led by the moral authorities of the community. The women didn't spill any blood. They didn't burn any villages. Their power came from their unity, their songs, and their deep understanding of their own culture. The colonial system, built on force and authority, simply didn't know how to respond. It couldn't shoot a song. It couldn't arrest a dance. The pressure was immense, and the system buckled. In the end, the women won. The unjust tax was cancelled. Corrupt officials were fired. And for the first time, women were given formal seats in the local government, a recognition of the power they had always held. History books often call this the ABA Women's Riot or the ABA Women's War. But for the Igbo people who lived it, it wasn't a riot. It was justice. It was a community correcting a wrong. So why does this story from nearly a century ago matter so much today? Because it shows us a different kind of power. It wasn't power from a gun, but power from culture. It was built on a deep respect for women's authority, on collective decision-making, and on using art like music and dance as a tool for protest. It proves you can have sophisticated laws and a just society without a single written book, because the law lives inside the people. Even now, in many parts of Igboland, if you see a young palm frond tied to something, it sends a clear message: stop, this place is under protection. It's a quiet but powerful symbol, a direct legacy of the women who stopped the colonial power with nothing but a leaf and a song. That is the incredible richness of Igbo culture: power without violence, resistance without destruction, and a history that is carried not on paper, but in the hearts of its people. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as powerful as I did, consider subscribing for more hidden histories from around the world.